Meet Ms. Doris. No, I mean Miss Louise. No, I mean Miss Dorothy. Man, I don't know. She's gone by so many different names in her time. For today, we're gonna call her Miss Diamond, because she's been stealing diamonds for the last 6 decades. Yeah, Miss Diamond is over 90 years old now and is one of the most notorious jewel thieves of the last century. And I can't even confirm whether she's retired from the life or not at this point. Ms. Diamond officially started her career as a jewel thief in the 1950s. You may be thinking, how does a black woman in the 1950s, at the height of Jim Crow, successfully steal jewelry? Well, to do what she does, you have to be a master of reading people. So this was her MO. Whenever she entered a store and saw a salesperson that she felt was weak or could be easily manipulated, she'd chat them up. I mean, she was very charming that way. Ms. Diamond would convince the sales rep to show her multiple pieces of jewelry at the same time, and then use some sleight of hand, on some David Blaine type to tuck the piece away, or she would just wear it on her finger or her wrist, acting like she's trying it on. And while trying it on, she'd stand there talking to the salesperson, waiting for some other white person to walk in, which most times would get the salesperson distracted, and then Ms. Diamond would just walk out. Now, in this line of business, salespeople aren't supposed to take out more than one piece of jewelry at the same time for insurance purposes, but they will if they think you're a millionaire. And Ms. Diamond played her part, dressing up like the social elites of that time, making people think she was a baller. So what drove her down this path? Well, when she was a teenager, she was in a jewelry store trying on a watch. And she was talking to the sales rep, who was a white man, about the watch and how great it was. Then another white man walks into the store. The salesperson abruptly stops the conversation with her, literally shoves her out the way to go help this white person who walked in. He was so abrupt in ending the conversation with her, he forgot that she still had on the watch. Feeling disrespected and realizing she still had the watch on, little Miss Diamond kind of just walked out the store with it. It wasn't until years later that she'd remember this incident, and this is what prompted her to pull this same stunt hundreds of times throughout her life. Like this one time in Monte Carlo, she walks into this high-end jewelry store, and sure enough, the salesperson there is a weak one. Ms. Diamond does her thing and slips straight out the front door with this nice shiny ring and jumps straight into a cab. Now, while she's in the store, she never really looks at the price slip, that's on the ring. I mean, she's too busy stealing it. But once she gets in the cab, she takes the ring out and notices that the price of the ring is $500,000. I mean, she was thinking it was probably gonna be like 5 or 10,000. Turns out it was a 10-carat diamond ring. She bit off more than she could chew. She was sure the police were gonna be looking for this ring when they realized it was missing. She headed straight for the airport to try to catch the first thing leaving France. But before she could board the flight, law enforcement found her and arrested her. She was done. Tell me why. Getting arrested didn't stop no show. When law enforcement arrested her, they couldn't even find the ring. And this is after numerous pat-downs. Turns out she was pulling some sleight of hand trickery every time they searched her. She would slip the ring in her mouth, in her sock. She put it anywhere she could to keep them from finding it. While locked up, she got this nail clipper and separated the diamond from the ring and sewed the diamond into the hem of her underdress. After a few months of being in lockup, the jail took her to the doctor for a checkup. Not sure why they don't have doctors at the jail, but hey, it's France, I don't know. And Ms. Diamond didn't let the chance slip by. She asked to go to the bathroom and managed to slip out the doctor's office while the correctional officer who was supposed to be watching her was none the wiser. She saw a man in the parking lot of the doctor's office and charmed him into driving her away from there. See, that's the thing with Ms. Diamond. Even if you catch her, she still manages to slip away. If y'all don't see it by now, Ms. Diamond was just in love with the game. I mean, even in her 50s and 60s, she was still out there hitting licks. She stole from jewelry stores in Greece, London, and Denver, just to name a few. I mean, she's done so much stuff that I can't even cover it in this one short video. Like one time in Switzerland, she stole these Rolexes. And after getting caught, authorities were supposed to take her to Geneva via train. And while the train was stopped, she somehow jumped off the train and slipped away from authorities. She's like Catwoman for real, for real. Like I said, she's in her 90s now and can still very well be in the mix. She got caught a couple years ago in her late 80s stealing out of Perimeter Mall in DeKalb County, Georgia. But don't get it twisted. She's been to jail many times. For as many times as she slid off on them folks, she been caught as well. She just loves the game. Even now, if you ask her if she has any regrets.
Any regrets?
No.
On anything you've done? Do you wish you hadn't done it?
Well, I ain't killed nobody, I robbed nobody. Yeah.
Well, you kind of robbed somebody.
I ain't robbed them. They gave it to me.